Today, I'm gonna show you how to make Bananas Foster overnight oats. Now this recipe is made with old-fashioned or rolled oats. I do have a video on this channel that makes this exact same recipe with steel cut oats. So if you're a steel cut oat user, make sure you check the link below this video and you can go to that recipe because the measurements are slightly different. But this is just quick, simple. It comes together super fast in the pan. So let's get started. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is melt a little bit of butter on my pan. What we're doing here is cooking down our bananas with cinnamon and a little bit of maple syrup to give this like a really delicious dessert-like texture and flavor to your oats. Okay, so once your butter is melted, I'm gonna add a banana. Now I eat the other half with peanut butter because it's classic me while I trying to do videos. You can use very ripe bananas or the bananas that you have in your freezer. That works too. And I just slice them right into my pan like this. We're gonna cook them down a little bit. What I love about overnight oats is that I can make these jars a couple of days ahead of time and then I have breakfast ready. As a matter of fact, I have an entire playlist dedicated to oat recipes because oat is a staple in many of our pantries. They're super easy to whip up any meal, like whether it's treats, cookies, or breakfast, I've got you covered. So we're just gonna toss our bananas around a little bit. And to the bananas, I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon and some vanilla. This is gonna cook down for just a couple of minutes. Now today I'm making 4 servings or 4 jars, and there's about 2 or 3 of us that will probably eat these at my house. So it's about a day or 2 of overnight oats. Oftentimes people ask like, how far ahead can I prep overnight oats? Now if you don't have fresh berries, so just the oats in your milk, you could prep that like 4 days ahead of time. Even this recipe, 3 to 4 days, the bananas hold out really well. Berries tend to break down, so you kind of have a 2-day limit. So make sure you don't cook up like a lot of them or a big tub and then your fruit gets mushy. So I would say just plan on 2 to 3 days max to enjoy your oats. So now that these bananas have cooked down and they're kind of looking like a little mushy, I'm going to turn off my heat and take some maple syrup and just drizzle it over the top. Now the pan is still hot, so it is going to melt my maple syrup, combine it with my bananas, further cooking it down. Man, if you only had smell-o-vision. So, so good. And so it almost looks like the part of the Bananas Foster bread pudding. You know, there is no alcohol, so I'm not gonna be lighting this up on fire. That would not be probably the best way to start my morning. All right, so now this mixture is ready. And as you can see, it just took a couple of minutes to whip up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is measure my oats into my jars, which there's always spillage. More for the vacuum to pick up. All right, so that's 1 serving right there. Now the other thing I'm gonna add to my oat jars is some flax meal. I do have a video on how to make overnight oats, which is like a very basic process. And there I explain all about add-ins. So things like chia seeds or hemp seeds, protein powder, yogurt, no yogurt, like all of those details and how to make really great overnight oats are on that video. I'll make sure to link it below. But I do like adding some golden flax meal. This is just ground flaxseed to each of my jars, not only just for nutrition, because they bring omega-3s into my recipes, but they also absorb liquid. So it helps my oats be thicker, really delicious, almost pudding-like. So my oat jars, I'm just gonna give them a little shake. And then I'm going to add my milk. The ratio of milk to oats is different depending on what kind of oats you use. Now, today I'm just simply using unsweetened almond milk. That's typically what I use in my overnight oats, but you can use whatever milk you use at home for this recipe. So I like to be kind of fair. I have 3 kids. Everyone's got to get the same, you know? No one can argue about the rest. Our oat jars are ready, just like that. And the final step is to take our delicious banana mixture and spoon it into each of our jars. So why don't I do that? So they are slippery, so this is definitely an assisted process with the spatula. So we're just going to fill each of our jars with about 1/4 of the mixture. Guys, it smells so, so good. I mean, in the morning, you can eat these cold right out of the refrigerator, or simply warm them up for about 30 seconds. Now, do you have to make overnight oat jars in these little jars? No, you could just simply mix everything in one big container, and if you're not taking them anywhere or just want less things to wash, you can just serve them out of the big container. Just like that. So you do want to take your spoon and kind of like bring the bananas towards the bottom a little bit, mix everything together. One jar at a time. Maybe use a smaller spoon that I'm using in your jars, because you do want to get the good stuff to the bottom so your last bite tastes just as good as the first one. And with that, friends, I'm simply going to cover my jars. And I do refrigerate these overnight. The reason they're called overnight oats is because it will take at least 6 to 8 hours for the oats to absorb that liquid, and it's really a no-cook method. In the morning, you can just grab a jar and your breakfast is ready. And because I knew you'd be here today, I made a few extra jars last night. I also did eat one at 3 a.m., but you know, they're overnight oats. They were ready. So let me show you our thick and rich texture that these overnight oats take on, just like that. So as you can see, all of our oats have absorbed the liquid. Oh my gosh. They taste just like dessert. Cinnamon, bananas, vanilla. So good. I ate them cold, right out of the fridge. I don't even bother warming them up in the microwave a little bit. Make sure you check the description box below with the recipe, a link for you to print it out, all the measurements. And while you're down there, if this is just the kind of videos that you enjoy, simple, quick, fast, and delicious, click that red subscribe button. I'm here every single week. See you next time.